It was just a morning walk with his old dog. But in the clearing sat a barefoot girl in a red hoodie. Silent, bruised, and surrounded by stray dogs. He was a single man. Just trying to get through the day. That moment changed everything. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more stories like this. Let's begin. I walk the same trail every morning. Same path, same trees, same stubborn golden retriever tugging at the leash. Rex is 15 now. Mostly blind, all heart. Doesn't move fast, but refuses to be carried. We were about halfway through when Rex froze, ears twitching toward the clearing near the creek. I squinted. That's when I saw her. A kid. Maybe 10, tops. Thin. Pale. Wearing a red hoodie way too big for her. Barefoot. She wasn't crying. Wasn't making a sound. Just sitting on a stump like she'd grown there. Around her. A pack of stray dogs. Not growling, just circling. I don't remember thinking. Just dropped Rex's leash and jogged over. Hey! I barked. The strays scattered. Rex followed behind, tail stiff, growling like a pup again. The girl didn't flinch. Didn't look up. You alright, sweetheart? I asked, kneeling down. She just stared straight ahead. Big gray eyes. Dirty cheeks. I offered her my jacket. Nothing. Not even a blink. I called the cops. Took them 40 minutes to show. When they did, they barely looked at her. Probably ran from a shelter, one said. Not our problem, the other muttered. They were about to leave her there. I couldn't believe it. So I did something stupid. Or kind. Or maybe both. I took her home. She sat on my couch for 2 hours and didn't say a word. Didn't touch the cocoa I made her. Didn't move when Rex laid his graying head on her lap. My house isn't much. Just me, a dog, and a front porch with a sagging swing. But it was warmer than that park, and a whole lot safer. I called social services, left a message. Then I called Cassie. Cassie trains dogs for a living. Runs a little shelter out past Route 6. I don't know her well, but she's got a way with creatures that don't trust easy, dogs, cats, and maybe girls in red hoodies. She showed up wearing flannel and muddy boots, hair in a ponytail, and a bag of treats in her hand. Mind if I try? She asked. The girl didn't look up. Cassie didn't speak right away. She just sat beside her, a little sideways, like she wasn't watching. Just breathing in rhythm. That quiet kind of patience you can't fake. Eventually, Cassie held out a piece of jerky. Not toward the girl, toward Rex. He took it, of course. He's shameless. The girl blinked. An hour later, she was still silent. But when Cassie gently reached for the hem of her hoodie, the girl didn't pull away. That's when we saw them. Bruises. Faded, but real. And a small, angry scar down one ankle. Cassie's face changed. She didn't run from no shelter, she whispered. She ran from something worse. That's when we both knew, she wasn't just scared. She was hiding. Cassie took the girl to the guest room that night. Tucked her in. Sat beside her until she slept, still wearing that red hoodie like armor. Meanwhile, I stayed up with Rex, nursing a lukewarm coffee and questions I didn't want to ask out loud. Where had she come from? Who hurt her? And why did she pick that park, my trail, to stop walking? By morning, the hoodie was folded neatly on the bed. She was gone. I panicked. Tore through the house. Back door was cracked. But she hadn't gone far. Just out to the yard. Barefoot in the grass, kneeling beside Rex, whispering something into his floppy ear. He wagged once. Cassie joined us with toast and a quiet look. She hasn't said a word, she said. But last night, when I checked her things, I found a school ID tucked in the lining of the hoodie. She handed me the card. No name. Just a barcode and a photo, one that made my chest go tight. The same wide gray eyes. The same hoodie. The girl's name was Lily. Cassie dug deeper. Called a friend who worked in child protective services. Quietly. Carefully. Turns out, Lily had been placed in 3 different foster homes in the last year. None of them lasted. The last one. A man and woman just outside town, suspended for disciplinary methods 2 months ago. Translation: abuse. They filed a missing report, but no one really looked. Not hard, anyway. She's not a runaway, Cassie said. She's a survivor. That night, Lily finally pointed to something. Not a map. Not a word. The hoodie. I held it up. Inside the pocket, stitched in messy red thread, were 3 letters. J.T.S. brother. I asked gently. She nodded. One slow, painful nod. Then pointed to Rex. Then to me. Then back to the hoodie. And that's when I knew. Whoever J.T.S. was. He used to protect her. Now it was my turn. The next morning, Cassie came in with Rex's leash and a plan. We're not just waiting around for someone to knock on your door, she said. If they didn't look for her before, they won't stop now. We need proof. Proof of what exactly, I didn't know, but I knew where to start. I took Lily and Rex with me. Cassie followed in her van. We drove out to the old house where Lily's last foster file said she'd lived. A rural property with warped shutters and a truck in the weeds that hadn't moved in months. We didn't knock. Just watched from the ridge with binoculars. Rex growled low. Good instincts, Cassie said. What we saw chilled me. 3 other kids, all small, none smiling, doing yard work under the eye of a man with a cane and a cigarette. The woman on the porch shouted something sharp, and one boy flinched so hard he dropped a rake. Cassie took photos. We bring this to the county, they'll stall. But if we collect enough. That's when Lily tugged my sleeve and pointed. One of the boys wore a hoodie like hers. Same red. Torn at the sleeve. Only the letters were different, J.T.S. She shook. Her lip trembled. Your brother. I whispered. She didn't nod this time. She collapsed into my chest. We didn't get out of the car. We drove straight back to town, Cassie calling in every favor she had from every vet, trainer, and animal control buddy who owed her. That night, I sat beside Lily with the hoodie in my lap. You want us to get him out? I asked gently. She looked up at me, eyes wet. And for the first time, her voice, raw, scratchy, but real, came out in a whisper. Please. Cassie's idea was simple. Illegal? Maybe. But right felt louder than legal that night. They've got too many animals, she said, flipping through the photos. Those mutts running loose. If animal control gets a tip about aggression near kids, they'll have to investigate. So that's what we did. Cassie called it in. Not as herself, but as a concerned jogger. Stray dogs pacing the fence, she said, voice shaky. One looked like it bit a child. They sent 2 officers out the next morning. Meanwhile, Cassie and I sat in the truck, Lily between us, clutching Rex's collar like a lifeline. It went down fast. The officers stepped inside. The man on the porch waved his cane, shouting. The woman faked a smile that even from here felt venomous. Then Cassie elbowed me. Look. A boy, same age as Lily, same eyes, slipped out the back gate while the commotion brewed. Cassie got out. She walked fast, purposeful, like a trainer catching a runaway pup. When she reached him, she knelt, said something, and slowly held out a leash. The boy stared. Then took it. Not like a dog. Like a kid who hadn't been offered choice in years. Lily was already running. Brother and sister collided near the fence, arms wrapped around each other like they could hold back the world. I had to look away for a second. Cassie guided them both into the truck, slammed the door, and muttered, "Drive." So I did. We didn't go home. Not yet. I took the back roads west, dust flying, Rex panting in the seat beside the kids like some old knight on patrol. Cassie rode shotgun, texting furiously. "Got a friend with a safe kennel," she said. "And a cousin who works in juvenile court. If we get them to listen, maybe, just maybe, we can make this stick." In the mirror, I saw them, Lily and her brother, heads resting together, red hoodie now wrapped around both their shoulders like a blanket. It barely fit him anymore. 2 sizes too small. When we finally stopped, it was at Cassie's shelter. A dusty trailer behind it had a cot, some snacks, a lock on the door. Safe. We gave them space. Let them sleep. Cassie brewed tea. I sat on the steps watching the stars. "Why us?" I asked. "Why'd she stop in that park? Why that morning?" Cassie blew on her mug. "Because maybe Rex barked at the right dogs. Or maybe kindness just finds people when it's got nowhere else left to go." I didn't answer. But I looked at Rex, who let out a tired grunt and laid his head on my boot. A week passed. CPS finally returned Cassie's calls. She handed over the photos, the court records we pulled, the bruises she documented. But it wasn't enough. "We'll investigate," they said. "But foster systems are overwhelmed." Translation: they'll wait until the damage is irreversible. That night, I found Lily by the truck, clutching the red hoodie like it was her whole past sewn into fabric. She looked up at me, eyes wide. "Will they take us back?" she whispered. My throat tightened. "Not if I can help it." She looked at the hoodie, then slowly, handed it to me. "You keep it," she said. It was the first thing she'd offered. And it meant everything. The next week was war, not with fists, but with files. Cassie became a one-woman legal army, collecting statements, building timelines, printing every text, email, and photo she could scrape together from her contacts. I handled logistics, school records, medical receipts, Lily's foster file. The boy's name was James. Quiet. Stronger than he looked. He spoke less than Lily, but when he did, it was sharp, smart. Too smart for 10. "They hit her more than me," he said once, when I asked. "Because I learned how to block fast." I couldn't sleep that night. The caseworker finally agreed to meet. She sat in my living room, polite, overworked, hiding exhaustion under layers of professionalism. We handed over the folders. She glanced at the hoodie in my hands, still stained and stitched. "That's what she was wearing." "Every day," I said. "Even when it was 90 degrees out." The woman paused. Flipped through the photos again. She stopped at one, a shot of Lily kneeling beside Rex in the grass. "She hasn't smiled in any official file we've ever had," she said quietly. "Not once." Cassie leaned forward. "We want custody." The woman raised an eyebrow. I cleared my throat. "I may not have a mansion or a perfect record, but I've got a dog that saved her, a woman who never quit on her, and a home where she's never had to flinch." The caseworker didn't promise anything. Just said she'd write it up. That was government speak for pray it sticks. But that night, Lily drew something. First time I'd seen her hold a pencil by choice. It was Rex. Me. Cassie. James. Herself. And above them, a red hoodie, floating like a flag. She titled it, "Found." The courthouse smelled like coffee and nerves. Cassie wore a blazer I didn't know she owned. I wore my cleanest flannel and boots that didn't squeak. Rex stayed home, which broke my heart and probably his, too. Lily and James sat beside me, both dressed in the kind of second-hand clothes Cassie had mended by hand. Lily clutched my old bandana in her fist like a lifeline. Their old foster parents sat across the aisle. The man stared like he was still in charge of something. The woman? She didn't look at the kids. Not once. The judge looked bored at first. Then the evidence began to pile. Photos. Files. Cassie's testimony. And then, Lily's drawing. Cassie had brought it, laminated and all. This was her choice, she said softly. To draw this. To write that word. And she doesn't use words lightly. The judge studied it a long time. Then James stood up. No one asked him to. "Your Honor," he said. Voice low, steady. "They called it discipline. Said it made us tough." He looked toward the other side of the room. "But they didn't teach us to feel safe. They taught us to flinch." Dead silence. Then Lily stood up next to him, not saying a word, just resting her hand on his shoulder. "I don't cry. Not in court, not in public. But that moment cracked something open in me." The judge cleared his throat. "You'll hear from us in 72 hours. That was it. We left the courtroom holding hands. Not because anyone told us to. Just because it felt right. Waiting was worse than the hearing. Cassie tried to distract the kids with puzzles and baking. I pretended to fix things that weren't broken. Even Rex paced. The house felt like it was holding its breath. Then, on the third afternoon, a knock. A woman in a navy jacket stood on the porch, clipboard in hand. She smiled. Not the forced, polite kind. The real kind. "Mr. Ellis?" "That's me," I said, heart already in my throat. "I have the paperwork," she said. "It's official. Temporary custody granted. Review in 6 months. But for now." She handed me a folder. "They're yours." Cassie let out a gasp behind me. I just stood there like a post until Lily slipped her hand into mine. "Does that mean we're home?" she asked. I swallowed hard. "Yeah, kiddo. It means you're home." James didn't say much. Just sat on the porch later that night petting Rex, whispering things only dogs should hear. Inside, Lily put the hoodie away. Folded it carefully, placed it in a box, and slid it under the bed. I asked if she was sure. She nodded. "I don't need it to feel safe anymore." That was the moment I knew she was healing. Not fixed. Not suddenly fine. But healing. And that's more than I ever thought I'd get to witness. 6 months flew by in moments and miles. School drop-offs. First birthdays with candles. Silent breakfasts that turned into noisy ones. James joined the soccer team. Lily learned to whistle. Rex got slower, but not in spirit. The court made it permanent on a Tuesday. Full adoption. No appeals. No loopholes. Afterward, we didn't throw a party. Lily didn't want one. She asked for a walk instead. Just her, me, Cassie, Rex, and James, down that same park trail where it all began. It was fall. Leaves crackled underfoot. Cassie held my hand like she'd always meant to. We reached the old stump by the creek. Lily stopped. Stared. "This is where I sat," she said. "When I didn't know if the world still had people in it." She turned to me. "You proved it did." Then she reached into her little backpack and pulled something out. The red hoodie. It was folded neatly, like a flag. She held it out to me with both hands. "I want you to keep it," she said. "Not because I need it anymore, but because you gave me something better." I took it. My hands shook. "Like what?" I asked. She smiled. "Small. True. Family." I looked at Cassie, then at James, tossing pebbles into the creek. Rex knows my leg like he already knew. That hoodie. It used to be a shield. Now it was a memory. A thread. The beginning of a new story, stitched with quiet kindness, patient love, and one very old dog who still had work to do. You made it to the end, thank you. If this story left a mark, click like, drop a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. There's more where this came from.